How the heretics, this is my rebuttal of the Watchtower defense in Stockholm, because Watchtower was in court and Watchtower lost for the second time. And I had so much fun in court. I've been in court a lot of times, but this was really fun because I actually grew up as one of Jehovah Witnesses. So it's fun to listen to Watchtower in court, because what they say in court is the absolute opposite of what they will say in the Kingdom Hall. So the thing is, in most countries, you have human rights for grown-up, but you also have human rights for children. So even though a grown-up has the right freedom of expression, children has the right to be protected from some kind of expressions like violence and pornography and stuff like that. So that's why civilized countries often have some kind of R rating system. So this video is okay to show to children. This video is not okay to show to children. So that's not a violation of human rights. It's to protect human rights. It's to protect the rights of a child. I can give you another example. Human rights includes freedom of movement. I'm allowed to move around. So, but you have the right of being protected from a madman in a Volvo. So that's why the government tell me that I need a license, I need a health check and some education to drive a car. So I have the right of movement, you have the right of not being run over by a madman, and that's why I need a license. So basically the same thing happened now. Watchtower, the Watchtower representative, he showed videos without a permit, without a license. So that's all that's relevant for this case. He violated the law. It's a very, very easy case. But they tried to make it into a human rights thing. And like I said, I never had so much fun in court. So they started telling that we are exactly, Jehovah Witnesses, we are exactly like any other groups. If you've been to Kingdom Hall or you grew up a Jehovah Witness, you know that witnesses claim that they are the God's one true religion and that our standards is higher than the standards of Satan's wicked system. But in court they will always say that no, we are exactly like everyone else. They actually started with that. We are exactly like everyone else. Please apply your low worldly standard to us. And then when they were talking to the defendant, this elder, I will not give you his name because that's a Scandinavian tradition. Our legal system is built on, if you commit a crime, you will be punished, but you will not be humiliated. So anyway, it's actually a good system. I support that. We have less crimes than in most other countries. So I will honor that system and I will not mention his name. It's a good system. Go Sweden. So this elder, they asked him, could you explain to the court who you are? And he goes on to say, well, I am like a priest and this convention is like a church. And you could basically say that I am a priest giving a sermon in a church. And if you've been a Jehovah Witness, you will know that's really weird. Because we always used to say, it's not a church, it's a kingdom hall. It's not a priest, it's an elder. But now, no, I'm a priest in a church giving a sermon. And I was like, what? Okay, I know they play word game, but at this point it didn't make any sense, but we'll come to that later. And then they started making this about freedom of religion, freedom of religion. It has nothing to do about freedom of religion and freedom of expression. It's about protecting children. But they said, we're not doing this, we are standing up for freedom of speech and freedom of religion, not for ourselves, no, for the Pentecostals and the Catholics. Could you imagine a world where Catholics were not allowed to express their opinions? Yes, Jehovah Witnesses can imagine such a world. It's called After Armageddon. We have Kenny Rogers killing everyone that's not a witness. But in court they said, no, 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 we are standing up protecting the religious freedom of Catholics. Which is so much fun because witnesses don't believe in freedom of religion. They believe in mandatory Watchtower religion. So the legislation that say that you need a permit to show a video, the actual wording is that you need a permit to show a video in a convention. It uses an archaic word that means convention in Swedish. And the Watchtower use exactly the same wording, the same archaic word for assemblies and convention, same word. So, you know, Watchtower, they like word games. So imagine if the legislation would have said, you need this for a cinema, then the Watchtower would be, well, this is not a cinema. Or if it would say, you need this for a church, they would say, oh, this is not a church. Or if it would say, you need it for you need it for a religious building, they would say, oh, no, 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 this is not a religious building, it's a rented facility. They love doing the word games. But now the legislation say you need this for a convention. So now it makes sense why the elder were emphasizing it. I am a priest in a church. So the lawyer, the Watchtower, he was a witness. It was obvious the way he spoke and behaved that he was a witness. He stepped away from the legislation and pointed to the web page of frequently asked questions or something like that in the government media council. It says you need this permit if you're having a cinema. So they say, well, according to the web page, you only need this if it's a cinema and this is a church. So they were kind of passing over the word convention because convention is there. Oh, it was so fun. It's sad really, because I used to be a Jehovah Witness and we used to refer to the religion as the truth. And then you can see in court and you see Watchtower representatives lying to protect the truth. Why couldn't they just tell the truth and rely on Jehovah, say the truth, nothing but the truth? So help you God. God will help you against Satan's wicked system, and instead you're sitting there and you see the Watchtower. You know, it's not possible to see where Satan's ass ends and Watchtower representatives' head begin. It's sad, but it's also fun to see. Then they went on, still with the word game, and said that this was a family event. Because this legislation, you don't need a license to show a video in your own private home, of course. Of course not. You shoot a video, there's a badger in the yard, you film it and you show it to your kids. Of course you can do that, you're the parent. But so the witnesses tried to make this, it's not a cinema, it's a church, or maybe a family event with 10,000 people. So say, no, this is like a sermon or a family event. You can only, you need an invitation to get in. And it's basically a family event, and no children would come without their family. It's a family event. And he said, if an outsider would come in, you would see them like, he said, like a piece of butter in a bag of coal. And, well, technically it's true. It's kind of a family event, but, you know, still it's 10,000. And if you need an invitation to get in, yeah. But we literally go from door to door and give an invitation to everyone in Sweden. So yes, you need an invitation to get in, but everyone in Sweden gets an invitation. So I would still say they were lying. Then they went down to the next line of defense and said that we didn't know about this legislation. Firstly, the apostates, the activists, we informed them. We said, you're aware that you're violating the law. So when they said we didn't know about this, that's a blatant lie. Secondly, if you don't know about the legislation, you still have to follow it. Imagine if I'm out driving my car and I get arrested and they ask you, do you have a driving license? And I said, no one ever told me I needed one. I'm still culpable. I still go to jail for driving without a license. And I'm just a goat farmer. Watchtower is a multi-billion dollar industry with their own legal team. So they really don't have any excuse. But still, it's not relevant because it's not the government's problem. The government is not responsible to teach you. And morally, Watchtower believes everyone has to read this book. If you don't do that, you will die in Armageddon. And if you do read it and come to any other conclusion than the conclusion that the governing body has right now, you also need to die, deserve to die, and your kids deserve to die. So the idea to say that I don't know and the judge would be okay with that, that's really funny, because imagine an Armageddon and you say, well, I never heard about Jehovah Witnesses. What will Jesus say? Not my problem. And he will kill them, according to witnesses. So the point, we did not know, is really ridiculous. And also I have, okay, so this is the Norwegian law. And this is the Jehovah Witness law. I've read this for years, and this is better. This is logic. It's arranged of the chapters. It makes sense. And it's more righteousness in this book than in that book, I would say. But that's another point. So we didn't know we needed this. Of course they did. We told them. And they have a legal department. Then they would question about, there was we have freedom of speech, but we do not have freedom of hate speech. Minorities are protected from hate speech. So there was some homophobic propaganda shown, and they asked the elder about the homophobic propaganda, and he pretended that I never thought about it before now. Yes, there was something about why it's important for us to respect everyone, or more like how we should behave when people don't respect us. Of course, we're the victim. And one thing I was thinking of, I've been a lot in court, so I was thinking if I would be the defense attorney, what would I say? And my biggest concern would be how to keep the videos showed at the convention separated from the videos showed at Kingdom Hall, because witnesses show videos illegally at convention and illegally in Kingdom Halls. So from a Watchtower perspective, if we lose this now in court, we want to isolate it and say, well, this verdict only deals with conventions. Kingdom Halls is something totally different. So I was wondering how the defense lawyer would kind of making a airtight wall between this, so that if they lose, they still can commit crimes in the Kingdom Hall. But what he did, he basically started his speech with saying that we show videos in the Kingdom Hall every week. So if the court would decide that what we're doing in the convention is a crime, well, then everything we do in our Kingdom Hall is also a crime. And I was flabbergasted. I was baffled. It's really, really, really weird. Okay, I'm not a lawyer, and he is probably smarter than me, but that was my main concern. How, if I would be in his position, how do we make an airtight thing that this has nothing to do, our crime at the convention has nothing to do with our crime in the Kingdom Hall? But he did. So then they wanted to show some videos to the court, and that's also not relevant. Like I said, if I'm arrested for driving without a license, and I go to court and say, I would like to show a picture of my car, and a picture of my other car, and a picture of my trailer, it's not relevant. It's not relevant at all. But the court allowed them to do it. So, and then they had the clever wording. So they said, we would like to show you some of the movies we show at our meetings. So he didn't say convention. The kind of movies we show at our meetings. And then they showed a video about why it's important to be honest, always honest. They didn't get the irony. And then they showed a video about the bird. That one was at the convention, I think. Then it was a governing body member speaking straight into the camera. Then it was interpretation to sign language. And some video about alcohol. And then they ended the session to say, we don't want to bother the court with all the videos we showed at the convention. So technically, they said, we would show you what kind of videos, and then they said, we will not show you all the videos we showed at the convention. So technically, they did not say that these were the videos we showed at the convention. But still, it's still a lie when you use a clever wording that you probably have to practice in front of the mirror a few times before it fits, to do that in order to deceive. It's still a lie. Higher ups in the Watchtower, we use the expression, technically it's not a lie. We make a sentence that will give the wrong impression, but technically it's not a lie. And that's what he used. Technically it's not a lie. But it is a lie. Why don't they rely on Jehovah? So then it was a crown witness, because it needs to be proven that they did it. Even if they admit it, it needs to be proven. So crown witness, he was a journalist, been to the convention. So they asked him, did you see the videos? Yes. And the defense attorney asked, what kind of videos? And said, well, most of them were normal and some of them were more science fiction. And defense attorney said, there was no science fiction. Why would you say it's science fiction? There were no science fiction. Firstly, that's not good behavior by a defense attorney, because he was giving testimony. The defense attorney were giving testimony. It's the crown witness that should give the information. If he say there were science fiction, you say, what do you mean with science fiction? And then he would explain, well, there was a 200-meter high flying horse with a 200-meter high Kenny Rogers with a bow as a weapon of mass destruction. But instead he was harassing the witness. There was no science fiction. There was no science fiction. I would call that science fiction. Flying Kenny Rogers with a sword. No, with a... Anyway. And then he started asking him about popcorn. Did you see anyone eating popcorn? Did you see anyone selling popcorn or buying popcorn? It's not relevant. It's not relevant. Human rights, human rights, human rights, freedom of speech. As long as there's no popcorn. We can't have... We are standing up for freedom of speech, freedom of expression, but as long as there's no popcorn. It's stupid. Popcorn has nothing to do with freedom of expression. I never had so much fun in court, at least not with my clothes on. It was really fun. Was there popcorn? And then they were interviewing a witness, a sister, Jehovah Witness sister, and in the second court they interviewed also some children. They said, was this good videos? Yeah, they said it was really good videos. It's not relevant. Like I said, if I'm arrested for driving without a license and I say, well, could you please talk to the neighbor kids? And the neighbor's kids say, well, he's such a good driver. We think he's a good driver. He always blinks. Ask the neighbor's wife. Yeah, she also say he's a good driver. It's not relevant. And especially when you're talking about children being protected from dangerous films, do they really expect the government to say, well, the R rating system can be done by the kids themselves, so you let the kids look at this filthy material and the kids can give it the rating they think? It's it was really weird. And then they were making a big point of the length of the videos were only 1 minute. Also not relevant. If the law would say you need this if it's longer than 1 minute, well, then it would be relevant. But the law doesn't have any. As soon as it's moving pictures more than, I assume, 1 second, it's a film. So, but they may, and also they said it's only 1 minute. The videos were longer than 1 minute. So, and also there were clips. So if you combine the clips, you know, they're showing long videos. Just then cut them up into small sections. It's still a long video, but some of the clips were also longer than a minute. So they lied in court, and that is sad. I think, because I used to be Jehovah Witness, and I used to trust in Jehovah, and they trust in lying in court. If there's one place you should tell the truth and nothing but the truth, and God will help you, it's court. So it was sad. But the good thing is that the children won. The court said the same thing as I always say. Protecting children is not a violation of human rights. Because Jehovah Witnesses have freedom of expression. They have freedom of religion. And if there's any Jehovah Witnesses watching this, I'd like to remember you that you are not persecuted, because you had several conventions in 2018, and the same crime was committed on every convention. And the government is only prosecuting one of them to teach you a lesson and ask you to stop doing this. Watchtower defense attorney said, if this is illegal, then everything we do in the kingdom halls is illegal. And no elder in any kingdom hall has yet been prosecuted. And then in 2019 you had a lot of conventions, and no one was prosecuted. So no one's coming out to get you. They took this one guy, took this to court, tried to teach you a lesson. Could you please listen to the law of Caesar? When Caesar wants nothing but protect children, please. So this is weird. Like I said, I wish it wouldn't be necessary to go to court for stuff like this, but it was fun. It was both fun and sad to be there. And also it was difficult because when we started with this, also most activists, they were thinking like Watchtower thinking, well, Watchtower have freedom of religion, never mind the children. And I said over and over again, children also have the rights, and the rights of the children. If there's a conflict, the children go first. So, but that changed. People understand that now. And then also we had, all the XJW community in Sweden. There was a lot of fighting. A lot of people said, we should just have meetups in pub and talk about football. Well, if they want to do that, they can do that. I support that 100%. If people want to do activism, like myself, we should do that. If people want to talk about football, they should do that. And then instead it became this stupid fighting. You have to be an activist, or you have to drink beer and talk about football. That's counterproductive, and that's one of the reasons why I didn't go to the second time in court. I was there in the first time. But in fact, this is Christina and Sabina. I had a very small part of it, but if anyone should be praised for this victory, obviously the government of Sweden, but if there's any activists that deserve validation for this, it's my friends Sabina and Christina. They did a really good job. Really good job. And people that called us aggressive activists, they now try to claim it was their idea, but it was Christina and Sabina, and they were really cool. So it was an honor working with them, but they did all the job. I was just skipping along. I made a video about my trip to Stockholm. It got almost no views. Maybe someone will see it now. It's a nice city. So if you want to expand your apostasy and seek new privilege in Satan's organization, and you want to do the same as Sabine and Christina, it's a lot of work, because you actually have to go inside a convention and film it. So you take a Bible and you print out some Watchtower propaganda PDF, and you go and you ask, could I please come in? And then you sit nice the whole convention, and at one point you film it. Because even though Watchtower might admit that they are doing this, you can see in their program that they're going to film it, the government need to prove it beyond any doubt. So you actually have to go to Kingdom Hall and film what they're doing. Film that they're showing a screen and there are children present. But then you can press for charges if you want to do it. So this is my rebuttal. Sorry for ranting, and if I have some facts wrong, then I would like to apologize to the defendant and to Watchtower Bible and Tract Society, because this is not a court transcript. This is just me being nostalgic. I used to be Jehovah Witness. I used to believe that this is God's one true religion. And remember, my father always used to say that the difference of Jehovah Witnesses and every other false religion is that we would never lie to protect the truth. But that's exactly what they're doing. So it's kind of sad, but it's kind of fun too, in a weird way. So I hope you are among my 144,000 subscribers. If not, you can partake from the subscription and the new light notification bell, and you will be informed every time Jehovah changes his opinion. So, see you in paradise.